What's up, everybody? Ben Rasa and Matt Gajewski here for Odd Chopper, and we are back talking all things college basketball. The NFL season has ended. Everybody's saying, okay, it's NBA time. That's kind of true, but don't forget about college hoops. There are so many games each and every day of the week, and from a betting standpoint, the board could not be better. You can find value. You can dig into these teams, and we have done just that. Matt, I know, can speak for you when I say you're a big college hoops guy and you love betting all the games we have to offer.
Yeah, absolutely love it. Now we have the board cleared a little bit with other sports, and it's almost in time for conference tournaments. We're almost there in March Madness, just a little under 2 months away. We're going to be there sooner than we think.
Yeah, and it's good to get a look at these teams. It's good to get a pulse of who you might be seeing. You know, when you're building your brackets and you're like, who is this 14 seed? Well, you may hear about them in the video today. If you are just stopping in for the first time to the channel, I know we got a lot of new people checking out the videos. Welcome aboard. Welcome to Odd Chopper. Hit that like button if you want to support us. And if you want to be part of that team, just hit subscribe. You join the community each and every day. We're dropping new VODs, how-tos, favorite bets, everything in between. But it is time. We've got three. Boy, different levels of egregious. We're going to start with the normal bet. Obviously, that's yours. Kansas State in the Octagon of Doom tonight at home against West Virginia. Talk to me about this game. Where have you seen the line move a little bit? This is at 115, -3. Why are you leaning to the home team here?
Yeah, -3 is where you're going to find this right now. I'd be comfortable taking it up to 3.5, 4 if it moves that direction. Couple reasons why. First of all, Kansas State, I think overall is just the better team. We'll get into some stylistics in a second here. But you look at strength of schedule, Kansas State has kind of already played the murderer's row of their conference. They just lost an OT game to Iowa State. Their most recent loss is to Baylor. Actually, their last 2 losses in conference are to Baylor. And then prior to that, it's Kansas. And in the meantime, they've actually knocked off some of the decent teams in the conference. TCU, Oklahoma State, Texas, Texas Tech. They have wins over all those opponents since the 15th of January. So just a strong team overall. Whereas West Virginia has kind of slipped up. And we look at how these teams are composed. Kansas State's a team that's actually gotten healthier. They were missing a couple of their players towards the start of the year. So they've now gotten back Selton Miguel, Ismail Massoud, and they're a team that has a lot of size over West Virginia. When we look at how these teams are composed, Kansas State is number 3 in rebounding, and West Virginia, when we look at rebounding defense, they rank 259th. And that makes a lot of sense. West Virginia is a team that doesn't have a ton of size. Kansas State's not the biggest team, but they're definitely bigger than West Virginia. And then we look at how West Virginia plays. They're a team that's going to try to shoot the ball a decent amount. And you have Kansas State, the number 3 ranked 3-point defense in the country. So a lot of these stylistics set up in Kansas State's favor too. With a total at 133, more than comfortable laying the 3 points with Kansas State here.
We are market movers. You can see it on the screen right now. The spread is moving. It's ticked to 4 just now. It's plus 100.
I still take that.
Yeah, I would as well. But it just speaks to the value of why you want to get to these videos as soon as possible and lock down some of these teams. I'm with you. I've seen a lot of West Virginia basketball with or without Taz Sherman. At times, it's just the offense, I think, is really struggling. Respect their defense, but going into a hostile environment, you just mentioned some of the splits. Really in Kansas State's favor. This is one I had circled as well. We got that. That's a good one. Now, if you're not a big college basketball person, you're going to say, what is UIC? What am I looking at on my screen, and why did it just gain an extra point? And why are we laying 17.5 points? Well, I'm going to explain all that. This is my favorite bet. This is extremely egregious. Illinois, Chicago. I obviously wanted 16.5, which we just had. I would still take this at 17.5. Why? Because the team that they are playing, IUPUI, is the worst team I have ever seen. And that's not an exaggeration. First of all, they're 2-21 on the year. Their 2 wins are against Spalding and something called East West. Neither of those are Division I basketball schools. IUPUI only has 6 players. They are offering open tryouts to any student in the school who has played basketball because they are that short and they can't practice. It's a disaster. IUPUI averages 50 points a game. That would be dead last in the entire country. They have nothing going for them. They are the worst offense I've ever seen. They are non-competitive in basically every game. They're coming off a game where they just lost 83-45 on Saturday. Illinois Chicago is a team I have not seen once. They don't look particularly good, but obviously against an opponent like this, it doesn't really matter to me. The thing I like the most, they're top 100 in tempo. All I care about is the pace of this game. IUPUI mercifully tries to slow the game, but it doesn't really matter because they just they can't score. They fall so behind. They're forced to speed up if they want to compete. And they're just one of the worst offenses, again, that I've ever seen. 356th in true shooting percentage. They have nothing going for them. I'm going to short this team indefinitely as long as they have 6 players. It's just not a Division I program right now. They'll be back. They're not normally this bad, but in this situation, the spread's going to continue to balloon. I'm going to take this now and lock it down.
Yeah, they're not doing themselves any favors either. You look at like shot quality metrics. So for those of you that aren't familiar, shot quality is just a metric that kind of grades how your shots are taken. So there's a premium for shots around the rim, and then there's a premium for 3-pointers, kind of showing you how bad of a shot a long two is. IUPUI ranks 356th in shot quality. So you're talking about a team that already can't score, doesn't have any players. And then like maybe a team could shoot threes, run hot and get a couple wins, but they're not even doing that. They're literally the 3rd worst shot quality team in the country. So there's just nothing good to say about this team.
No, I've never. First of all, when you only have 6 players, it's a problem. And watching, I am sad to admit this, I watched the Cleveland State game on Saturday with this team. It's not like they have 6 players and they have every position. They just got a bunch of guards out there. They have no size whatsoever. It doesn't really matter. I'm gonna short this team till the end of the year as long as they only have 6 players. So we've got Kansas State, we've got Illinois, Chicago. Now we're going to a total big game. Georgetown, Creighton, 142.5 plus 100. So you might be able to find a little better and you'll lay a little more juice. But talk to me about why you think this could push over.
This is a game I really like. Georgetown, they haven't won a game dating back to December 15th. Pretty egregious, but they do have some single-digit losses in there to some pretty good teams. Like we're talking about DePaul, Butler, Seton Hall even, played Nova pretty close. Providence, that was a game they kept within 10 points. And when you look at some of the stats for this Georgetown team, 1, they're really fast. They play way above average in terms of pace. And 2, I try to reference their shot quality here. It's actually pretty decent. It's 132nd. So, I mean, outside the top 100, but still in the top half of all of college basketball, which is pretty good. So they're getting up some good shots. They're just running pretty poorly in terms of shooting percentage. And then I went back and tried to reference some of the players they have on their team. Just, are these guys bad shooters or are they bound for some negative regression? A guy like Donald Carey, he shoots 42% from 3. Aminu Muhammad, their stud freshman, he shoots 33% from 3. Not great, but there is chance for positive regression there. Caden Rice, 41%. So they have some pretty decent shooters on this team. And with some positive regression, they're a team that could take advantage of their pace. And I mean, right now they're 57th in 3-point attempts with 344th in 3-point percentage. So with a little bit of positive regression, that's something that stands out to me a little bit. Then you look at the Creighton side. We know they can score. They're slightly above average in terms of pace, pretty much on the average. So to me, it comes down to, can Georgetown hit their team total? Because I expect Creighton to. I mean, the defense for Georgetown is 289, so Creighton should be able to score at will. But can Georgetown get to that team total? So with some of the positive regression I expect them to see, that's why I like the over.
Georgetown's an interesting team. You mentioned really struggle. They made the tournament last year, the miracle of all miracles, but really high pace. You mentioned a lot of there are teams like that. For me, Alabama comes to mind, where they take so many threes, and at times, they don't hit a ton, but the regression can be there for a team like Georgetown. It's also a spread that if it comes in close to this number, you're going to see the foul game most likely late. You can get a bunch of points in college basketball. These teams foul forever when it's out of hand. Creighton at home, I'm on board with this. It was one that, it's early in the morning here on Monday. I hadn't looked at, but just looking at the metrics, I expect Creighton to do their part. And if Georgetown is taking as many threes as you're talking about, the pace is there. It's just an efficiency problem. So getting that 141, 142.5, anything in that range, I am good with. This is an interesting board. And of course, stay tuned. We're going to have plenty more of college basketball. But for Monday, here we go. We've got Kansas State -4 now. Illinois, Chicago 17.5 and over 142.5. Georgetown, Creighton. For me, for Matt, for Odd Chopper. Hit us in the comments with your favorite bets and stay tuned again for more content from hoops to the ice to everything in between here on Odd Chopper. Good luck. We'll talk to you guys soon.